Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this. I have to say that more often, actually, because I always say good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. Of course, titled Draw All Over, following Wanderers 1-1 scoreline down at Barnsley yesterday. I forgot where we went. Don't know why, because it's been so many times. This is episode 145 of the Fanzone podcast. Massive thank you to each and every one of you who've joined us in the chat so far. Ian, who I think was the first one in the chat, good evening to you. Good evening to, of course, your co-hosts as well. Ange and Chris, how are you two tonight? You well?
Hi, all right.
Yeah, decent.
It's a lovely day.
Yeah, got a bit of sun on my head.
It were a little bit bloody cloudy in Yorkshire yesterday.
Yeah, I think we all went with the intentions of getting a bit of a tan, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it ended up being freezing.
It was really cloudy.
Well, it weren't cold though, were it at least? No. But yeah, listen, it's a point on the road. We'll delve into this very soon. There's lots of people in the chat so far, so thank you for that. Before we do get going, we've done a little post about an hour ago, thanking Red All Over. They very kindly invited us into the fan zone yesterday for a little chat about the game and share some memories of Alan, of course, and it was lovely to do so. So thank you very much, guys, for inviting us in. We do have a recording somewhere. I think one or two people asked what we're actually discussing, so we'll try and get hold of that and snip it down and post the good bits of Chris speaking and not me.
Did I speak?
Yeah, it was me with my main character syndrome again, weren't it? Wanting to take the reins. Yeah, listen, it's a part on the road, isn't it? Let's start with Ange. Lovely to have you with us tonight, Ange, as ever. Is it a point gained or 2 points dropped? I'll start with that question.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I've been wrestling with how I feel about the result today. Yesterday, I was relieved and I was grateful for the point. That was my first. That was my gut reaction. I think I turned around at about 75 minutes and said, "I will absolutely take a point right now."
Yeah.
But when you look back on reflection, and I think it probably would have been a different game if they wouldn't have been 1-0 up when they went down to 10 men. I think probably it's an important point because as someone's put in the chat, they were top of the league at 1 point during that match when they were winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's early days, 3 matches in. Like, let's just keep a grip of where we are in the season. But knowing that we've got 2 home games coming up against Reading, who've not got a point on the board yet.
Gulp.
Yep.
And then Lincoln, isn't it, on Saturday?
Yep.
It could be a very big point. And we just need to take 6 from those 2 home games. Mm-hmm. And then it'll feel like a decent point, I think. But yeah, I've struggled a little bit today with the actually should we run it? I mean, they were towards the end of the game. We were pelted and weren't we with attacking moves and they hung on well. A couple of chances we probably should have put away. Most noticeably was McAtee's second attempt and just not managing to put it in the back of the net. But as we know, is currently an issue. That final ball is just not quite there yet. Yeah.
Have you seen it back?
I've seen tiny highlights. I've not watched the whole thing.
No. I mean the McAtee second chance that he missed. You're on about?
No, I'm not.
I have, Christopher. What it's
yes. So I'm not setting up, but what did you think when you saw it live, and what did you think when you saw it back?
Me or Andrew? Oh,
I've
seen it.
You've not seen it back. God. What did you think when you saw it live, Ange? You thought he should have buried it?
I thought he should have buried it, yeah.
Likewise. Colin?
I thought he should have buried it live, and I thought maybe a little bit unsighted, but he still should be getting more of a firmer contact on that header, and I still think he should be hitting the target.
I think it's
overcritical.
A far more difficult chance than it looked live.
Was it? I do like to watch it back actually when you don't see everything, do you? When you stood, especially when you're behind the goal, you don't. It
looks a lot closer as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's not the most proficient of headers of a football. I mean, let's face it. Him winning a header is a rarity. He makes the effort, but he typically jumps into players, and that's not. I don't think that's a criticism. I think it's something where he's trying to play to his strengths. He's not a great header of a ball, so at least put yourself about. And I think it wasn't a more difficult chance. But I was chuffed to see him score, of all players, yesterday.
Yeah, he had a bit of a stinker on Wednesday, didn't he? But yeah, I really like him, and I really want him to come good. And he's been in and out of positions like he's like a hobo.
Yeah.
And I really genuinely want, because I think he sometimes tries too hard, and that's a downfall.
Shall we? Sorry, Cole. I'm just conscious that the chat is like mad busy, like really, really back to what it used to be like. So thanks to everybody, and there's some really good questions coming in. Can I just ping this one up? So it's from Line of Vienna. Good evening. And his question, or her, I don't know. Do you think?
Sorry, Chris. I think it's a picture of a bloke on the YouTube emoji or thumbnail that he's using.
Yeah, it's Nat Lofthouse.
I think it is a bloke.
Yeah, it's Nat Lofthouse. On the picture, it's Nat Lofthouse. He's definitely below. Do you think we would have got anything from that if Yoga Nathan, and I can't stop thinking of that comedian with a funny eye. What's he called? Ramesh.
Ranganathan. Yeah.
Oh, it's Ranganathan, isn't it? Yeah. Do you think we would have got anything from that if Yoga Nathan hadn't been sent off? Discuss.
I think that we probably would have, because I think what happened when they went down to 10 men, obviously they got all the men behind the ball like you'd expect them to, but we kind of reverted back to that Ian Evatt kind of rotation of the ball from left to right to left, which in them circumstances, as frustrating as it was, is exactly the right thing to do. Our biggest problem in that last 35 minutes, we didn't do it actually enough and quick enough. But I do think that if we would have probably, with the level of impact that we had on the bench coming off it from an attacking perspective, we probably would have got something out of the game, I think. Also, they would have obviously, we'd have probably got them on the counter as well, which was, I think, the main part of the game plan. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we still would have got a draw out of it. Absolutely for the same reasons that they did put every man behind the ball, which you would expect. But yeah, no, I think, tell you what, Sissoko off the bench.
Oh,
what an opening performance!
Ibrahim, he was. I'm
excited.
Are you excited due to his final ball? Or are you excited due to the amount of stepovers that he can do?
No, I think he's strong. And he attacks his man. I enjoyed watching him. Yeah, he does probably overcomplicate what he's doing and step over a few many times, but leave him to it. He's a great footballer.
Yeah, big shout from Liam there of Paris Sissoko. different player.
Yeah.
Different player for me. I love a lollipop. I love a step over. I love a bit of flair. But I think you've hinted at what he brings, Colin, which is that delivery. That we were, if anything, highlighted, and I know that many things have highlighted that our need for a prolific striker. There's been so many comments about it, but I think yesterday really showed it because he can deliver a pass and he can cross a football into that corridor of danger, as they call it, between the last man and the keeper. He's a good player.
I'm up, Chris, and I don't know about you two, but I'm up for making this. I think yesterday's result is a result, and I'd be keen to kind of make this into a bit of more of an interactive pod tonight, because we do have, like you've said already, Chris, an awful lot of comments in the chat and questions and whatnot.
Busy. Yeah.
So I think we should do it like that. Obviously, we've got a little bit of structure, but we'll have it as a bit of an open floor. And we can all obviously chuck our questions into the chat and the chat back to us. I'll throw it to chat as well. Are we saying, or guys and girls in the chat, is it 2 points dropped or is it 1 point gains? And whilst people respond to that, what about we maybe answer one or two questions, Chris, that's in the chat?
Yeah. So just drop or gain as you comment, or words to that effect, on how you felt. There's a name I recognise. Anybody? Pick
Darryl again.
Right, place him. Good evening, Darryl. Suspects Sissoko eventually replaces Gale in the starting 11. Gale, great, but thinks Sissoko is more physical, which will give him the edge. I think the reason why I brought that up is I think that there's been a lot of praise for Thierry Gale, but I think yesterday was his first bit of a below par performance. There were times that he didn't look interested. I think in hindsight, he probably was frustrated. So I think that's a good point.
On Gale, Chris. On Gale,
yeah,
sorry.
No, definitely. Let's discuss it.
We need to be a little bit patient with him, I think, first and foremost. Yeah. Obviously, it's a new country for him to play football in. He's well-travelled, yes. But Gale is obviously from a certain part of the world where demeanour can often be looked at as a little bit kind of chilled out and laid back. Yeah. I don't think that he weren't bothered yesterday. I think there might have been a little bit of frustration, but I do think that's kind of his style. Personally, I kind of see Gale more of a player similar to Randall as well, to an extent, a player to have at home, if that makes sense. So when we're playing in front of 20,000, big wide pitch, we're going to have the ball 90% of the time. Your Gales and your Randalls are the type of players that you want on the pitch for me. When away from home, where you got to grind it, grit out a little bit, maybe we have Sissoko, who, like someone said already, is a lot stronger and a bit more direct, and obviously kind of knows the level and higher in England as well. I don't know. Maybe that's a
I think you're right.
You're right. That's a good point as well. I mean, it was mentioned. Sorry, Jimmy said, I think Gale is still a little behind in his fitness. He's probably, I think, was it 3 weeks that Stephen Schumacher said? 10 days, 15 days, a couple of weeks.
I don't think it really helps him either, Chris, Ange, that he's kind of playing with, and I know obviously Max Conway's gone above and beyond this season so far, but Max Conway is still a young footballer learning his game as well. So you've got two players on the left side there that are a little bit inexperienced. And when going gets tough, which it did, let's be honest, in certain parts of certainly the first half yesterday, I don't think they're the best partnership away from home, if I'm honest. Maybe that's a reactionary comment based on yesterday, but who knows? I don't know.
Look at the difference he made when he came on a Wednesday. So absolutely backs up what you said, Colin, that playing at home, I know it wasn't a full stadium or anything, but he refreshed and he brought us some energy. Someone has put in the chat, he did get a right clattering, didn't he, at one point?
Yeah.
So whether that had a bit more of a impact than we thought, maybe he was just a bit like...
Yeah, it was in the first half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think you can certainly see why Gale and Kozagubri were obviously on the pitch from the start, because I think the game plan from the minute one was to obviously try and get them on the counter. And we saw that, didn't we, in the first kind of 5 minutes when we nearly scored. So you can certainly see why that was chosen. And that kind of leads into what we were talking about earlier when it comes to the game itself. And if they'd have stayed with 11 men, we probably would have had more success in the game.
On the subject of physicality, I still can't wrap my head around Randall and Sheehan at the same time.
No,
I just don't.
100%.
Away from home. No.
But again, this is the thing, though, isn't it? You can see the logic of thought, because they are two of our more creative footballers in terms of intelligence on the football. So when you are in a situation where you do need to find a pass, an intricate pass in behind to the wingers, they're going to find it, aren't they? So you can see why, they both started the game yesterday. I can anyway. I don't know if people agree or disagree with that.
I disagree. I think one of them. You do need that. Yeah, you do need that. You're quite right.
They're too similar. They're too similar.
I think when you saw, and I still can't come to terms with his name, Arahan did when he came on. Obviously, unfortunately, he didn't spend that much time. I don't think he played. I think Simons had gone off when Harahan came on. But the thought of those two, and I said it to, who was I talking to? Johnny Wanderer the night before, and I said I won't be surprised if he played with 2 6s. And I think that would have been, for me, but what do I know? I'm not a football manager, but for me, playing with 2 6s and one creative player in front of them, I think that would have been the ideal sort of choice, given the strength in that Barnsley midfield, which it's notorious for, and their creative outlet tends to be Luca Connell.
Yeah, to counter that point to an extent, I suppose, I would probably say last week against Plymouth, Randall and Shear were probably our two of our best players on the pitch. So it would be really harsh when you consider that neither of them played against Sheffield Wednesday in the Cup midweek to drop them or drop either one of them for this game. Because
it's the horses debate, isn't it?
Yeah, but people always say you shouldn't change a winning side. But
then
should you?
You should change it to Barnsley are a physical side. We're away from home.
Yeah.
So just doesn't quite make sense. Absolutely, two home games coming up. Different horses for courses again, isn't it?
It's been. He said himself that there's going to be a hell of a lot of rotation this season, and I get it. I think we probably complained about it when Everett was here, that he made too many changes. And he rotated too much, and now we're flipping it on its head and saying he's not rotating it enough, or whatever it might be. It's a strange one. It is. I think you mentioned it yesterday, Carl, that it's very, very early days. People going on. I mean, obviously Stevenage are currently riding high, and fair play. Shout out Matt Farley. Fair play, unbeaten, 9 points. Goal difference of +4. What a phenomenal start to the season. But it will balance itself out inevitably. Will Stevenage win the league? Matt Farley will say yes. I'll say no. But maybe they'll be up there. I don't know. But it does need time to settle down, and players need to bed in and stuff like that. But I do think that tactically, especially given that first half, that I think he got it wrong.
We also, with two of the earliest signings that we made are still out injured, with Dolby and Taylor, aren't they? So there are still partnerships and things to be found with players that aren't even fit enough to be in the side. So it's going to be one of them seasons, I think, where we just have to be patient.
Yeah, end of the day, if we win the next two, then we'll no doubt be in that kind of top 4, top 5 conversation, and then everybody will be looking at the season thinking, what a great start it's been.
And we all knew when them fixtures came out, we all gulped, a bit of a gulp there with August. But to be fair, let's get that difficult month out of the way now, and if we can come out of this month with a decent point haul, then we can crack on.
Yeah, Big Mouth was saying we got to win our next two. He agrees with you, Cole, and I don't think anybody disagrees with that. And they are two very, very winnable fixtures, given how both Reading, Lincoln are above us, but we normally beat Lincoln at home, don't we? So we should do it again.
Speaking of Lincoln and speaking of Ethan Erahan, or however you'd like to pronounce his name, Chris, you mentioned that you're struggling with his name, and I'm sure many Bolton fans are. I thought I'd capitalise and move into this potential segue that we will be around on Thursday, I think it is, for a preview ahead of the Lincoln game. And of course, Jake Tong will be joining us, and Jake will be able to tell us all how you pronounce Ethan Erahan's name.
Ethan, innit? There you go.
Ethan.
Wait, is it not a Monday double preview this week?
What we'll do is when the stat man comes on in a couple of minutes, we will double, triple check that and get back to you. But we do have a new sponsor for as a headline sponsor this year. Of course, it's Loving My Social. So before we get into the Barnsley review with the stat man, a little shout out to them.
Go on. Loving My Socials, here we go.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Get Stats On with the Statman. Of course, we are talking about Barnsley today. The 1-1 draw, that probably should have been a win, in my opinion. But before we do any stats, I would just like to say, didn't get the front four, maybe not including Cosy Dubbery, but yeah, didn't get them on the ball anywhere near enough for me. Burstow touched the ball 25 times, which is the least of anyone to play all 90 minutes. Randall touched the ball 14 times. Gale, just 26 touches. You know what I mean? Simply not enough, especially when they're supposed to be the ones that are putting the ball in the back of the nets. Now, cheeky promo, I did write an article on yesterday's game, and you can check that out on my Twitter, Callum_47, talking about the biggest issue so far this season. And it could be quite an issue. It may not be. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, I'll stop the promo there. And we'll move on to the actual statistics, shall we? Which, I mean, it is more tactics today. But anyway. Yeah. The next thing I want to say is you seem to have forgotten how to break down a low block / mid block. And to be fair, under Everett, you weren't exactly mint at it. But you were better than you are now. You've completely forgotten how to do it, which is sort of understandable because you wouldn't have done it in pre-season at all. It would have been all about the transition. And it does work, to be fair. But when they got a red card, you could not break them down to save your life, to be completely honest. When OC Tutu came on and he played on the right back, or to be fair, this is just for every game, but when he plays right back, it helps the system work better. Because he bombs on down the wing, Cosy Dubbery can come inside a bit, and there's an attacking five. You'll have seen me mention it in the Barnsley preview, that attacking fives are very common because you've got a player in each section of the pitch. Left wing, left half space, centre, right half space, right wing. And the half space may not mean a lot to you, it just means the bit in between the centre and the wing. And that it works. That's why everyone does it, and you should do it, to be honest. Doesn't have to come from a full-back. Could come from a midfielder. But for me, when you're dominating a game, as you did when they got sent off, I'm not even going to try to say his name, when he got sent off, and that was a red card for me. But yeah, when he got sent off, you were dominating the game. You got to push someone else up. But to be fair, Cosy Dubbery plays so much better when he's got paint on his boots and he's hugging the touchline. When he comes inside, he's not as effective. So you've got a bit of a dilemma there. Maybe you don't do a fullback. Maybe Sheehan or Morley joins the attack in some way. But anyway, just before we move to the tactics board, I'd like to mention George Johnston, because obviously he didn't even start the season. Farino played with Toll in the first game. But I thought he was quality against Barnsley, especially with bringing the ball out of the back, because he definitely carried the ball into midfield a couple of times. But 6 passes into the final third for a centre-half is stupendous, to put it simply. And he had an 84% pass accuracy, and he wasn't exactly playing safe, was he? he played a couple safe passes, but a lot of them were forward to an attacking midfielder, to a midfielder ahead of him, to the fullback, to the winger, even to Burstow a couple of times. So, you know, I thought he had a cracking performance. He was good defensively as well, winning 8 duels, I'm pretty sure it was. But the whole defence, not just him, was caught out by David McGoldrick's movement, to be completely honest. Now, we're going to move on to the tactics board, because this is what I'm going to highlight. Now, what I said in the preview was that Ogbeta would be up here, left winger would cut inside, McGoldrick would hold the middle, Phillips out wide, and the right winger on the right, with a bit of a 3-2 for the rest of the team. And I was spot on, to be completely honest, with the structure. Maybe not how the players were there, but with the structure. It was always a 3-2-5 when they had the ball in the attack before the red card, obviously. Despite some pushback on that. But anyway. But what did keep happening is McGoldrick, the big man himself, he had freedom to move out here or move over here, and then other people would swap with him. He even ended up on the wing a couple of times. And their front four, which was Phillips, the number 40, whose name I can't remember, the number 7, whose name I can't remember, and McGoldrick, they were moving about a lot. And Ogbeta would always hold the wing on the left when he had joined the attack. But he was the number 40. Sometimes he'd be around here and sometimes he'd be up front. And then you could find McGoldrick out wide. And the number 7 and Phillips switched a lot, like a stupid amount. I've never seen anyone do it. But to be fair, it worked. Because starting like this is all well and good with McGoldrick back in the middle. That's great. But what you've obviously got is this here. You've got 2 centre-backs against a striker. But, obviously, when McGoldrick moves out here, then you've got a question, who's going to follow him? Does Toll follow him and then leave a massive gap between him and Johnston? You've got half the blooming box there. And then the number 40 can come in and he's in a load of space. That doesn't work. Does Toll pick up the winger, leaving Dakris Cogley to pick up the massive McGoldrick? That's never going to work either. And then who picks up Phillips? When he drifts out wide, does Simons follow him? And does Conway go inside? No, probably not, because Conway can't defend Conway's not used to defending in the middle and Simons ain't used to defending out wide. But then if the number 7 drifts inside, Simons is going to be better at stopping him in there and Conway's going to be better at stopping Phillips. But then they've switched man. Just to be honest, the way they attacked was absolutely brilliant. Their fluidity in the front four was superb. And to be honest, that is probably why you didn't win the game. Because when they had 10 men, there was just absolutely nothing you could do. And you're only going to know that from playing against them, of course. But, yeah, I don't even know how to go any further. It was just good. But, yeah, the main problem for me was how you defended, not really how you attacked, even though... Because, I mean, to be fair, you had a lot of shots, and yes, they had a red card. But you did. You should have scored more than you did. And that is the main thing for me. You just got to take your chances. And it's happened in every game. You could have scored more than you should have in every single game. And yeah, Dolby's not playing. Maybe he's back soon. We don't really know, to be honest. But you need someone clinical. It doesn't have to be the striker. But you need to be more clinical. Simple as. And that is all I've got to say. So enjoy the rest of the Fanzone review. And I'm sure I'll see you for a preview again very, very soon. Goodbye.
Statman in full flow. I think that kind of backs up kind of what we were saying before about the game itself and whether or not we would have obviously got more out of it or how different it might have been if they hadn't got a player sent off, because obviously they had no emphasis whatsoever in that fluidity in attack once they went down to 10 men. And obviously you'd have liked to think as a home team they would have been obviously expected to be in the ascendancy a little bit more with 11 men, and that fluidity would have probably stayed on the pitch and a bit more prominent. And then, therefore, our game plan, you'd hope, longer the game went on, would have obviously kicked into gear with the getting them on the counter and whatnot. But interesting from the stat man that, I do think he'd like Sabuti or Liam for Christmas. I'm inclined to agree with that comment.
100%.
And especially because I don't think he's of a generation who's probably even played Sabutio. I wouldn't have thought.
I mean, Finn's got to be Sabutio, so I'm sure he's got. Callum, are you in the chat? Have you got Sabutio?
Have you played Sabutio? Any takeaways from the Statman, Chris?
Yeah, you got. Yeah, I was waiting for it. I didn't watch it. I normally watch it before we screen it live, and I didn't. But I thought that he would get it bang on, and he did. Especially with the better comment and complimenting the left-sided attacking player at Barnsley. It was exactly that. They were overlapping constantly. We were struggling. And I'm sure that a lot of people will agree with me when they say that our right back didn't have a particularly good game yesterday. Mr. Dacres-Cogley, I thought, was like a rabbit in the headlights.
Tricky one of the right back situation, because obviously people aren't. He's a bit of a scapegoat at the moment in Cogley.
He is. I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to avoid Cogley. You know what I mean? But
yeah, he hasn't been the best, and he obviously is a bit of a reminder, I guess, if you will, of the time with Ian Evatt, because obviously Ian Evatt signed him. But we're stuck with the right back situation, because I have to admit I'm a little bit disappointed with the start of the season that Jordi Osatutu's had as well. He's clearly behind. He isn't quite as potent in attack as he was last season. I'm sure that'll come because he's a talented footballer. But what do we do? Do you get what I mean? People just have to kind of put up with it, really, because I can't see us kind of signing a right back. We've got more pressing. No. I saw a comment earlier on. David, I think, was saying new right back, new number 10.
Yeah, it was.
I get everybody's entitled to opinion, David, and I'm sure yours is valid. But I'll be honest, I can't see us signing number 10. We've spent best part of like £2.5 million on two of them, so that's ship sale. I'd probably move on from that. And the right back again, we need another striker, don't we? We need another different type of forward, don't we?
I think it's being emphasised as well the deficit at right back by how well Max Conway has started his Bolton career, because he was phenomenal again yesterday, and obviously talking to the Barnsley fans, the team from Red all over, all of them were singing his praises. Who's that left back of yours? He's something. Yeah, he's something special, and I think he will be. I think he is, and I think he will be. I think he'll only go on to improve. But I think it does highlight the difference from one side to the other. Just somebody who can do the basics really well.
We haven't had Peter Parker's Pizza Face in the chat for a long time, Chris, but he or she has made a couple of interesting comments. That was the second one.
Yeah. So you'd be going for this one then.
Yeah. So for those on audio, yeah, that's right. Yes, all those on audio. Defensively, Peter Parker's Pizza Face, is a tongue twister that, says could be better defensively but still leaking goals, but not having a fit striker to replace Burstow when he's knackered has maybe cost us a few points from Stockport and Barnsley.
Yeah.
Will be stronger soon. Definitely agree with that. And the second one also, I think, as well, Chris.
Yeah. Dare I say that the number 10 position is just screaming out for Dempsey upon his long return. Couldn't agree more. I think that's he's a perfect foil, isn't he? He's that perfect number 10. It's just he can stay fit. How many times have we said it? It's so frustrating.
Yeah, they've put some maybes. Just whilst we talk about kind of the Reading and Lincoln game that we touched upon before we went to the Statman, I did check, and we do have a double preview show, which Ange rightly said, double header. Should always listen to the ladies in the group, shouldn't we? Really,
right.
Often right. And this is tomorrow, and you'll be pleased to know it's the two Bens that are on for them two preview shows. So yeah, look forward to that. Both previewing the Reading game on Wednesday, of course, thanks to Sky, and Lincoln on Saturday. So whilst we think on about them two games, obviously Reading on Wednesday, Chris, They have had a pretty poor start to the season. Any real concerns going into that, or is it a foregone conclusion?
No, we'll smash them. We'll absolutely kick them all over the place. I think there will be some improvement from yesterday in terms of just being focused, especially in the final third, and being more clinical. I think he'll be drilling that into them. I'm just looking at obviously Reading are on 0 points. The goal difference after 3 games is -5. I suspect that, and thinking about what Peter Parker's Pizza Face said, I'm practicing that. That the issue with Burstow is obviously he's not been playing. He's getting really, really tired, and there's no like-for-like replacement. I do think that it's likely that Dolby will be on the bench on Wednesday as well. And if that's the case, I think that could make a world of difference. So, yeah, I've got no concerns going into that game whatsoever.
When is that B team game he was on about playing him in?
Oh, I don't know.
I would suspect they'll probably early this week before the Wednesday game, I would imagine. I guess. Probably.
Be interesting.
Yeah, because we training all last week, weren't he? So
yeah.
So him and Forrester, I think, both.
They're back in contention.
I forget.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
You keep forgetting about these injured players and.
Will Forrester is a really easy one. Really, really interesting one. Sorry, because he ended the season very, very well. He was probably one of the only shining lights last season, weren't he? Towards the end?
He was.
And I could see the attraction of obviously him being back in the team, but who does he play instead of? Toley is a right-sided centre half who has played left of a 3 before, and of course, you know, we've got Johnson, who's probably, like Statman said before, probably our best player yesterday, certainly from a defensive perspective. So it's good options to have, isn't it? We've had a question as well about the situation regarding Dalby and how many goals he'd score. I don't know whether you want to bring that comment up, Chris.
Let's have a look. Who was it from, Colin? Because it's extremely busy. It's in the chat, I assume, yeah?
How many games will it take for Dalby once back?
I don't know what you mean. Take for what?
I think it means goals, maybe. I'm not sure, but quite interesting conversation to have, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think Stephen Schumacher's mentioned it, hasn't he? That it is going to take him a few games. I can't see that one, Colin.
It was Liam.
Was it Liam? Yeah, to get up to speed, he's saying.
He's not going to be instant, is it? He's going to be coming on for the last 20, maybe. I would think, to start with.
Yeah.
Give Burstow a rest.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to start with, isn't it? And then gradually ease him in. But I think the good thing is that Burstow has shown that he can make an impact for 60 minutes, 70 minutes. It's getting longer by 10 minutes each game, it seems, with him, where he can make that impact. But the pressure that's on him is enormous because there is no like-for-like replacement for him currently. Put himself about, don't get injured, obviously be in the right place, because obviously you've got 2 very, very potent wingers. So it must be very, very difficult for the lad.
Yeah, but I think we can certainly be impressed and optimistic about, you know, his time with us for the remainder of the season. I think he's made a really good start, hasn't he? Considering the lack of football that he's had. Yeah,
I agree with that. David seems to think the same as myself, that Dalby... Is it Dolby, as in Dolby surround sound, or is it Dalby?
It's Dolby, surely.
It is Dolby. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
We had this conversation on the coach shop way back yesterday. I said this.
Was it agreed it was Dolby?
We all agreed it was the same as Dolby surround sound, yeah.
We're going with that. So Dolby will come on as a sub Wednesday, hopefully, says David. I'd be surprised if he didn't. And hopefully we'll have a buffer to play with in terms of a lead when he does. And I've got every confidence that we will. So hopefully he can chip in.
Absolutely. I would say that that's just about wraps up tonight's episode. Massive thank you to each and everybody here who's been in the chat tonight. I think 132 people have listened or watched this at some point during the last 40 minutes, Ange. So thanks very much for taking time out of your evening, of course. Wonderful chat, Chris. I think that's fair to say. I think you've been managing that. It's been pretty active.
Yeah, I'm quite, I made a bad choice picking that up tonight because it's been absolutely...
You've kept him on his toes. He's been a busy old chat.
Been barking mad in there. It really has, but we appreciate you all. Thank you very much. It's never, ever overlooked and it never goes unnoticed. So thank you very much for being in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And a huge thank you, of course, to our... headline sponsor for the 2025-2026 season, of course, which is Loving My Socials. And for those of you who didn't listen earlier or hear it, here's Ben's version of events.
E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Loving My Socials, here we go.
White and no doubt I'll be in trouble for that, but never mind. I hope that made you all
thanks
smile.
for not playing mine. Thanks for not playing mine this week.
What's that, Ange?
I said,
we're not playing yours,
no,
Colin?
Loving My Socials. we were sober recording there as well. Imagine if we were drunk.
Absolutely legendary. That's my favourite. I love that.
I think, to be fair though, we're very, very much appreciative of Loving My Socials. Of course we are. And I can't do that to Chris and to Ben and of course Andrew without doing it to myself. So one more shout out is Loving My Socials. Loving My Socials. Ooh. Loving My Socials. Ooh. No doubt you'll be hearing.
I think my facial expression call on that graphic at the end sums that up completely.
So it does, and I'm sure that won't be the last time you'll hear any of them during the course of the season, but it's been lovely having you all here. Thank you very much for your time, and we will see you tomorrow for a double preview.
Enjoy. Be there.